She lit up the screen as April Stevens on Dallas and held her own beside Chuck Norris on Walker, Texas Ranger. But Sheree J. Wilson's true story shines even brighter off camera. Today, we step beyond the spotlight to uncover the grace, grit, and wisdom behind the woman. Sheree, thank you so much for joining me today. I really appreciate you being a guest. It's such an honor to have you on.
Well, I'm thrilled to be here, and it's an honor to be invited. So thank you.
Yeah. So I met you at the South Fork Experience back in August, and let me tell you, that was an amazing event. Do you do those often, or do you do the fan?
Well, David Hainan has just created the South Fork Experience. He is very seasoned in doing these autograph signing shows in both Knoxville and Orlando and around the country. He has Fanboy Expo. But then he brought the whole Dallas cast, and I mean, everybody that was still alive, basically, together at South Fork. And oh my gosh, did we have a blast.
Yeah.
It was not an autograph signing thing. It was one big family reunion home week party all weekend long. All the barbecues, the breakfast, the dancing, the music. It was just so fun.
It really was. I agree. It was more than just, I came, I thought, well, I'll get some autographs, but I really felt welcomed by you guys. I mean, you guys are stars, and I was like starstruck, but everybody was so nice and so down to earth, and so I just really appreciate that. So your character, April Stevens, when they first brought, like you said, he said he would try you out for a few episodes. So when he first brought her on, she was scheming. She was the scheming ex-wife of Jack Ewing, the cousin of Bobby and JR and Gary. I think people forget about Gary because he was on Knots Landing. But so she was scheming, and then she turned into a nice person. So how was that to go from coming on knowing that you were going to be like, I don't want to say a villain, but a scheming person, and then to go to being a good character? How did they make that decision? Was it, I guess what I'm trying to ask was your character, oh, okay, so your character was popular.
So because after 13 episodes, they're like, she's really good, or we really want to keep her, and she gets along with everybody and everything is working seamlessly. And then you can't just play the same note on the piano every day. You have to have a huge character arc. And I had playfulness with Cliff Barnes. I was a villain with JR. I was horrible to Jack. I was just a scoundrel to begin with. And that's what they wanted me, just flat out, full tilt. But then it was like, to keep me, they had to change directions, because nobody likes that forever. I mean, nobody wants to be sympathetic or even, saying that they like April Stevens. She might have been amusing and entertaining for being such a villainess and, to begin with. But then when you saw her, she got everything she wanted. She got $100 million from JR. She did some pillow talk. She did some really, whatever. But then you find that she's fragile because she's lonely. And then you start seeing the cracks and the humanity.
Yeah.
That's the point, the turning point, where the writers were really kind enough and gracious enough to me to start creating that whole character change, where I could become worthy of the good guy, Bobby. He was the saint on the show. And for Bobby and April to fall in love in the magical fairy tale way that we did was, oh my gosh, it was a true dream come true for me as a person, to go to Vienna and Salzburg and Moscow and then go on a honeymoon in Paris. And I mean, we traveled the world
Wow.
besides just going to Dallas.
Yeah.
Um,
They had the
and
budget.
I
They
got
did.
very lucky, and I count my lucky stars and my blessings for all of that.
Yeah. And then I did read this that the reason that you left because your character really like, man, that was like shocking and horrible. But the reason you left was to be a stay-at-home mom, or like I don't know if a stay-at-home mom, but like you had a family at the time, right? A small child.
I married Bobby Ewing when I was 8 months pregnant.
Oh, okay.
I
Wow.
had not planned my pregnancy, but I went on a European, very long trip. Um, Half of it with Larry Hagman, my Hagman,
Oh,
and
wow.
friends. We sailed the Greek Isles. Then my husband and I went to Italy, and we just went through Rome, Florence, and Venice. And then I went to Germany for work, and I came home and never got over my jet lag. So that was like, oh, surprise. But I was working back to work, you know. Um, and so when I actually married Bobby on the show, I had the biggest bouquet of flowers cut out, and underneath was the biggest baby bump. And this last weekend, I got home last night from Asheville, North Carolina. My
Oh,
son and
wow.
my daughter-in-law are pregnant with their first baby
Oh my
boy.
goodness. Oh my
And
gosh.
so I got to relive all the things about Mom, we're trying to figure out how many months Lauren's going to have off for her maternity leave and this
Um,
and that. How much time did you have off?
well,
Well, you were 5 weeks old when I had to take you on a plane to Paris to shoot 5 weeks in Paris to
yeah,
end my character.
yeah.
And I said, so you were 10 weeks old when we left Paris. You'd spent half your life in America and half your life in
Oh,
France. You had the
well,
littlest passport, and I had to hold your eyes open
oh,
just to get you to have an open eye passport at 5 weeks because we
wow.
lived.
That, oh my
I
goodness.
I said I took 2.5 years off to be a
Yeah,
full-time, and
yeah.
I told Leonard, kill me off in grand fashion. I'm never going to be a first-time mom ever again. And I said, I don't want to just go out like milk toast. I mean, I like, oh, she just disappeared,
Yeah.
you know. And
If you're gonna do it right.
was, okay. So he didn't really even tell any of us what he had up his sleeve.
Wow.
We just went on the honeymoon for Paris, and we were having fun shopping in Notre Dame and the Eiffel Tower and this and that. And it was all romance and sunshine until he says, oh, in this scene, you're going to get kidnapped. I said,
Yeah.
oh,
Mhm.
okay. So the kidnappers are going to do it. And I was like, and it wasn't until I had my beautiful dress on and they were delivering me from my kidnappers did they said, okay, squib her. And I was like, they had to squib me with all the blood
Mhm.
bullets.
Yeah.
Oh, you're going to be machine gunned down today.
Yeah.
Oh, you really took me serious.
Yeah, and I thought that was a little much. Like,
Question.
yeah, I was like, oh my gosh, because
Oh,
and then poor Bobby has to witness that, and then and then he picks you up. And what I was gonna say, like, because I watched that scene again the other day when I was just trying to, rewatch some stuff, and I was like, I'm gonna ask her, how do you do that? Like, you're just like, and you're just, I'm like, I would have to be going. I don't know how you do that. I get that's a good actress, so you could do that, but I would just be like,
have
what?
you ever had to hold your breath? Not you just take a deep
Yeah.
and then so very slowly do you let the air out until you can't breathe any longer. And
Oh wow.
you're like, like oh.
So you said you were in Asheville, North Carolina. You're close. You were close to me. I'm only like an hour and 15 minutes from there.
I
Yeah.
know
Yeah.
because
So,
David Hayden, does the Knoxville show.
yep.
Um, and I had so much fun there, and I loved Knoxville. I'd never
Yeah.
spent time there.
Oh,
Their little town square is so
yeah.
charming.
Listen. It is a pretty town, but I absolutely despise having to go to Knoxville. That traffic on I-40, I hate it. And that's where we're getting the new studio. And I was like, Adam goes, is that okay? And I said, well, I guess it has to be because we have to have a studio. But I was like, oh my God, because I only go to Knoxville if I have to, like for my Botox. I have to get Botox there. And then, if I was to have like some weird doctor's appointment, that's the only time I go. I hate Knox. I mean, I hate the traffic. I'll put it that way. And it is like one of the
You live in
fastest.
Los Angeles, you don't know
It,
traffic.
yeah. Oh, listen, the last time I was there, is it the 405 or the four something?
405
It's back to back, bumper to bumper for hours, and
for
I was just like, yeah, so
hours every
yeah.
day, all night, never changes.
Yeah.
So
But
that's why it was like, bye-bye, go to the house.
so let's transition a little bit to okay, Walker, Texas Ranger. You played the district attorney, Alex Cahill on Walker, Texas Ranger. That me and my son's dad, I think we were married years ago for 23 years, but my son was one when that started coming on. And we used to watch that. Me and my husband at the time, we loved that show. My brother-in-law Brent, he loves you. He was like, "Tell her I said hi." Okay, and so yeah, so he still watches it like it reruns. I think it's on Tubi or Tubi.
It's
I think.
on free, I think it's on Heroes and Icons. It's on Get TV.
Mhm.
It might be on Tubi. It might be on Freevee. I know we were on 4 times a day.
Wow.
I mean, and this is what, 25 years later?
Yeah. Yeah. I think
Um,
it's on Hulu as well. I'm not sure. I think so. I'll have to
I
look, double check.
You might be right. I need to call SAG and say, where are my
Or
residuals?
text. Yeah. But listen, that show was so wholesome. It was like the whole family could watch it. I mean, yeah, in the later seasons it did get a little bit violent, but there was no nudity, there was no ugly stuff in it. It was wholesome, and the whole family, like I said, my son was little, and I felt okay with him being in the room. So with Walker, it was safe. It was a safe show for him to watch, and I appreciate that. So yeah,
That's why it's still on 25 years later.
yeah.
There's so many parental guidances that have to be in place right now because there are no boundaries to what they show and expose on some of the streamers, and I won't single anyone specifically out. So I think it's a real testimony to how much people crave quality television. They want good morals and values. They want a message that is something that is there for the whole family. And I don't care if you're 6 or you're 60 or you're 86, all the whole family could watch our show. We tried. There was no profanity, there was no nudity, there was action,
Mm-hmm.
but it was intentional. I mean, you're going to get kicked in the head for having a gun in the first place.
Yeah.
Sure.
Right.
But it really shows you how good versus evil, people want to tune in to have a happy ending where the bad guys have consequences
Yeah.
and they really do, go to jail. And
Mhm.
it's not just, watching the news is terrifying enough half the time.
It is.
Except recently, I'm very happy about what's happened with hostages and this peace.
Yeah,
I
me
will
too.
just throw that out there. I am
Yeah.
so proud to be part of this. Let's choose peace and love and kindness for a while and stop this division. So that's my big political
Well,
so
Liz, I
Ranger,
know we're friends on Facebook, and I know you see my posts, and I am very vocal. I mean, very vocal. But I can't help it. I talk for a living, and that's what I do. And so I'm just like,
wonderful.
I just, even I've had some friends go, "Hey, I think you're pushing it." And I'm like, I don't think so. But if I feel like I am, I'll stop. But I just feel like that I'm on the right side of history right now. And, I just feel like we deserve to live in a country that's safe or a world that's safe,
A world
So,
that's safe
yeah.
because we could be safe in our own little bubble here,
Mhm.
but if everybody else is blowing each other up,
Yeah.
sooner or later, we're going to
Yeah.
get it too.
Yeah.
No, it's we have to all collectively in this world come together
Yeah.
and decide that, you know, generations old wars and
Yeah.
grudges, it's like enough already. This
Yeah.
is today. Let's start today.
Yeah. I agree.
So,
I love
yeah.
that. So,
Um, no, I'm thrilled because I have grandchildren, I have children, and I want my grandchildren to grow up in the great, big, beautiful country and world that I grew up in
yeah.
and have all the privileges afforded to them and all the joys and the nature. And I mean, it's such a beautiful country and so many beautiful countries to visit. I mean, I love to travel. So, and I just want to feel safe and go immerse myself in other cultures and other languages and other foods and other, worlds,
Yeah.
ecosystems.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
get it. I get it. I mean, I want to feel safe too. And I think we're on our way back. I hope we are. I want things to just continue going the way they're going. So, but, yeah. So, and I love that it was on purpose that your show was wholesome. It was on purpose.
Oh yeah.
I think Chuck Norris is like a man of faith, isn't he? I think.
Oh, huge.
Yeah,
Huge.
so I
Big.
love that. And that's what I don't know if you know or how much you know because I try not to share a whole lot on my Facebook page, especially now that I got all these haters because like people have been mean with my posts. I don't know if you've seen that, but there's been but I don't delete any comments unless they're like extremely violent. Like people can say the worst things about me and I leave it because I believe in freedom of speech. And
Right.
trust me, they have said some ugly stuff, but I leave it because everybody has the opportunity to say what they want. And I'm a public figure. And I'm like, if you want to bash me, go ahead. That's okay. And I could take it because I have thick skin. I'm like, that doesn't bother me. I did put something on there. I don't know if you saw this post where the funniest one day was a guy said, "You look like a chihuahua with blue eyes." And so I was like, that was so
I
funny.
hope he has 10 chihuahuas because they're his favorite puppy, because
So,
that is the most ridiculous statement I've ever heard.
well, I thought it was so
I would
funny.
just take it as a compliment because you have the most beautiful blue eyes
Thank
and
you.
absolutely stunning. So,
Well, I just
that's
left it.
that if that's really as good as he can get,
Yeah.
it's pretty pitiful. You know,
Well,
you have to have rhinoceros skin
mhm,
or Teflon skin.
mhm.
I mean, I have a delete button the size of Texas. If somebody does me wrong,
Yeah.
take it in. Did I deserve this? Was that cruel? Was that mean? Maybe I did deserve it. I don't know. Maybe I did something really wrong. But I can forgive and I can forget so easy because I just hit the delete button
Well, yeah.
and I choose happy every
Yeah.
day. I
Yeah.
mean, life is a series of choices. And I wake up every day and say my gratitude list. And I go through it and it's long.
Yeah.
And I go to sleep that way. After I say my prayers, I go through my gratitude list. It's the greatest way to go to sleep and it's the greatest way to wake up
Yeah.
because
It
then
is.
already you know you're going to have a great day.
Yeah.
And if something goes
Absolutely.
wrong, it's like, oh, okay, now I can handle it
Mhm.
because I'm not all stressed out and I'm
Yeah.
not festering with what happened yesterday or who did me wrong or who said mean things. It's like, oh, grow up.
Yeah.
I don't delve into politics because I have no interest in changing anybody's mind.
Yeah.
I do my own research, I make my own choices.
Yeah.
I've been raised the way I've been raised in a
Mhm.
very big, Christian home, and I have my faith solid, and I'm very proud of, being a wholesome Christian,
Yeah.
and I have no problem with any other religion as long as you're like, it's just be kind,
Yeah.
be respectful, follow, if you're a child of God, and I don't care what what else goes in all of
Mhm.
that. If you're a child of God, God never created us to hurt one another
Yeah.
and
That's
never
true.
created us to hurt our earth or our animals or anything.
Yeah.
So I try not to do that.
Yeah.
If
Yeah.
people do that to me, I'm going, bye-bye.
So I want to talk about, I want to get back to you and talk about you are honestly when I was doing my research, I was like, oh my God, at the time I did not realize you were the Carrie Lotion girl with the leggings that raised your, and I was like, I remember that commercial when I was a teenager. I think I was like 15. I remember that. And then I remember you on the Sea Breeze. Beautiful skin can be a breeze with sea breeze. I was like, this woman has been a part of my life all my life, and I had no idea, but you were basically the face of the 80s commercials. That is so cool.
I shot over 30 commercials in 18 months.
Wow.
Yes.
Gosh.
A fun fact, I mean, Seabreeze, we shot in Bermuda. I was
Oh,
like,
wow.
I'm in paradise. But I like Gina Tay or any of these little
Yeah.
body splashes of this and that. I was an all-around gymnast and I
Oh,
have pretty
wow.
straight hips. I'm not like a really curvy,
Mhm.
voluptuous woman. And they wanted me to get out and just use my body parts and my legs to spray the spray all over. And I just didn't have enough curves. They hired Gina Davis to be my body double.
Wow.
Gina Davis, it's her weight and this and those long 6 foot tall legs.
Yeah.
Just kind of like Linda Gray being the legs of Anne Croft in The Graduate.
What?
Linda Gray's legs are on the poster. Those are not Anne
I
Bancroft.
did not know that. Oh my
Linda
gosh.
Gray, beautiful legs.
Wow. Thank you for
Little
that. I love tidbits like that I didn't know. That is something
juicy
else.
morsels that somebody goes, "Are you kidding me?"
Wow. Yeah.
But I've never gotten to meet Gina Davis to thank her for being such a
Oh,
fabulous body double for me.
well, you should reach out to her. You should like somehow try to contact her.
Funny. But no, I really did. I mean, Maybelline eyes, Clairol boxes, I
Yeah.
mean, replay gum. I mean, there were so many. Um, and yes, I got on a really good roll of 60-second acting for a while.
So, how does it feel? Like, I cannot imagine, like, I'm just trying to leave my little mark in the world, and I can't imagine being able to look back and go, I mean, you have to be so proud of your work. Is you like the commercials and then Dallas and then, Walker, especially. I mean, how does it feel to know that you've left an impact on a generation, like on me too, like, how does that feel? You have to be proud.
I am proud. I'm most proud of my work ethic. I am certainly not the most beautiful in the world. I'm not the most talented, but I will say that you create your own luck. And a lot of that is because I lived in New York City and I wasn't going to Studio 54. In fact, I lived there for 3.5 years in the 80s and never stepped foot in there once. And I was the girl that got up and went and walked and took the subway and took the buses and this and that and went to every audition. And I was there at 9 o'clock in the morning when some of the girls were just coming out of the bars at 4.
Yeah.
So I think that there is a lot that I'm proud of, and it's mostly my work ethic. And I love what I do. I never really wanted to be famous. That wasn't it. I knew that it came with the territory, and you had to hire a publicist for a while. But once I had a child, I was like, I could care less if I was famous or not. I was already on Dallas and this.
Mhm.
And when Luke became 2.5, I thought, well, I still want to work. I'm, 30, 34 years old. I'm like, so I threw my hat back in the ring and I got this movie with Chuck Norris in shooting in Israel. Never met him before. But before I went to the movie, CBS brought me in because they were going to do a mid-season replacement for this Texas Ranger show, and they needed an assistant district attorney. And they didn't even have a script for it yet. because I auditioned for it in September before I left for Israel in October. So I remember they just CBS called me in-house, and they put me on tape reading old LA Law or Law and Order scripts. I wrote lawyer scenes.
Uh-huh.
And I mean, I show up prepared. I know my lines. I know my characters. As I said, I don't know if I'm the most talented. I know I'm not the most beautiful. I know there's so many people that are just, I watch them and I go, I could never do that. I
Wow.
could never do that. They're so brilliantly talented. They have more talent, in their pinky than I do in my whole body. But I work hard at my craft, and
Mhm.
I really love people,
Yeah.
and I love life. And I have this infectious desire to consume as many life experiences as
Wow.
possible.
Yeah.
And once I had Luke, I thought I'd never work again. But then when I got Walker, I did say to my agent, I got this movie and I'm taking a 2.5-year-old to Israel. Okay. 3 months with a 2.5-year-old in a hotel room in Tel Aviv at the Dan Hotel, bringing my mom to make sure he's safe and this and
Yeah.
that. I said, okay, I only want to do television now. I only
Wow.
want to be home. I want to go to work. I want to come home. And while I was on the set of this movie, um, Chuck came in one day and he looked like the cat that swallowed the canary. And I'm like, what? What? You obviously have something to say to me. And he was like, well, CBS called me today and they sent me a box of DVDs of all the people auditioning for Walker, Texas
Oh,
Ranger.
wow.
Well, that didn't mean anything to me, because I didn't know what the name of the show was going to be.
Oh.
And he said, it seems that they have this girl for the assistant district attorney named Sheree J. Wilson in
Oh,
first
wow.
place. And they want me to approve her or not approve her.
Oh, wow.
I said, you're the Texas Ranger?
Oh my gosh.
That show that starts in January? He said, "Mhm. Shoots
Oh,
in
wow.
Dallas. I think you're familiar with Dallas." So we all piled into his room after we got done shooting that day. And we watched all the auditions. And of course, my audition came up first. And he goes, pretty good.
Wow.
You darn good. And then he started watching all the other girls. I said, oh, you're not going to like her. She's very, very, very difficult. So we had a lot of fun. But Chuck and I worked so well together there.
Mhm.
And so we wrapped Israel on December 21st. And on January 6th, I was in Dallas shooting
Oh,
Local Texas Ranger.
wow.
We had Christmas, we had New Year's, move.
Wow.
It was like, so he already knew Luke, he already knew my mom, he already
Yeah.
knew
You know, it's just so amazing how God does things in our lives like that. Like it is so amazing. I look and
totally
like
a gift from God.
yeah, even with like what I'm doing now, you know, and like I said, I had interviewed Amy Stotch about 3 weeks ago. And when I was doing the research for her, I said, I had no idea that she had played on Days of Our Lives. Days of Our Lives was my favorite soap opera in high school.
Me too.
Me and all my friends would watch it. And I was like, you were Britta England. And then, like I said, I've watched you all my life. And so if somebody would have said 30 years ago, one day you're going to have her on your show, I'd be like, that's weird. I'm not even going to have a show. But isn't it? It just amazes me how God does things in our lives. It's wild to me, the blessings. So,
A magical discovery every day. And
yeah.
if you stay open to the beauty and the wonderment of
Yeah.
all that we have, that all reveals itself to you,
Yeah.
really know that God does have a plan every single
Yeah,
day.
he does. And it's just like I never would have guessed like I'm gonna be interviewing Alex Cahill one day. Like that's it's just wild to me. And I love it. And I'm a very blessed person. And I feel I do know that God's favor is on my life. I mean, listen, like, this is about you, not me. But anyway, he's good. God is good. So, but I wanted to ask you, what are some of the things that you have learned about yourself through the lens of fame that you might not have known or might not have discovered about yourself and who you were otherwise?
Through the lens of fame, I think what I've discovered is that it's really nice. It's nice to see your face on the cover of TV Guide. It's
Yeah.
nice to be on the Oprah Winfrey Show. It's nice to
Mm,
be on Conan O'Brien.
yeah.
It's nice to be on magazine covers. And
Yeah.
sometimes you go, oh, why did they use that picture? What? But it's also nice to know that that doesn't define me.
Hmm.
I don't need to seek for more and more and more of that. What I really discovered is that I would rather hang out with my family than
Hmm.
anybody in Hollywood. I
Yeah.
would rather be with my siblings or my children or my husband.
Hmm.
I have incredible friends. I have a lot of them and I cherish all of them. But I really understand how some people can get lost
Hmm.
because I had such great parents growing up, so solid, salt of the earth. We didn't have much money. We didn't, we had enough to have a very comfortable life. But I had to do all my chores and I had to do lots of things. There was never an allowance. I went to work when I was 13. I was babysitting before that. It's like, oh, you want to go to the movies? Well, get a job.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Other kids get allowance. You want me to pay you to be a member of this family? What are you talking
Yeah.
about? I don't get that concept. But I had a solid upbringing and such a good sense of myself that if you believe all the wonderful accolades and all the glowing reviews that you get when you've done a part really well, then you would have to believe all the reviews when they say, why did she ever get that part? She was horrible. What a miscast.
Mm.
Oh, there was no chemistry. I think some of the times that so many of these actors, their self-image hangs on what other people think of them,
Hmm. Yeah.
and it hangs too much on what the collective world thinks of them. They don't have enough sense of themselves, and that's where they really get in trouble. They
Hmm.
get in trouble, they go into depression, drugs, alcohol, this, that, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And so I guess the lens of fame taught me that I'm doing just fine,
Yeah.
says Sheree. And
Yeah.
my kids don't know me as a big movie star actress and
Oh,
television star. They really never watched a lot of my stuff.
wow.
Um, they get, they're like, what's it like to have her as your mom? They go, it's just our mom. What are you
Yeah.
talking about? And they, they don't really, they said, they might watch it now that they're adults.
Mhm.
They said
Yeah.
it'll be funny and fun for them.
Yeah.
But as a kid, I mean, one guy came over to our house and he said, "Oh my gosh, your mom is hot." And I thought my eldest son was going to punch him out. He goes, "Your mother you're talking about. Get out of my house." Yeah.
Uh, you know,
So,
I don't think my sister and my son, they've never read my books. Like my last three books were children's books. They've never read, but your family just don't look at you like, I don't, I called my sister the other night and I said, did you watch last week's show? Because last week we premiered, the network premiered season 2. And I said, did you watch my show last week? And she goes, no. And I called her a couple days later and I was like, did you watch it? She goes, no, but I'll go do that now. And I was like, okay, thanks, Lisa. But she just does it. I mean, and I'm not a big deal or anything, but it means nothing to my sister that I own a network, that I have my own show, that I write books. It's just like, she's just my sister. And that's good, though. That's good.
But that is healthy, I think.
Yeah, it is.
You know, if you get put up on a pedestal, you
Mm-hmm.
know what's going to happen?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You're going to get knocked off that
Yeah.
pedestal.
Yeah. And I made a Facebook post one day and I said, if you live for the applause of mankind, you're going to be disappointed when they stop clapping. You're not going to survive when because people will applaud you for so long and then they're going to move on to somebody else. And if that kills you, if you get your validation from that, you're not going to survive. So you have to know who you are in God, and you have
Right,
to know who you are as a person, and you got to
right.
feel good, because you're not always going to be number one. So
You need to know what applause you're going for.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. And also you said that your parents, you were raised in a really healthy home and stuff, and you had to babysit and earn money to go to the movies. And that's probably what gave you that good work ethic you were talking about a few minutes ago.
Yeah, my dad, I mean, I wanted a new bike. He said, okay, let's go. And I was like, that easy? Oh my gosh, this is easy. We went to the junkyard. We found a frame. We found some tires. We found the spokes. We found the little handlebars that I wanted, those little stingray
Yeah.
handlebars. And he was like, okay, let's go build it. And he
Wow.
made me build my own bike
Wow.
and taught me how to build that. You
Yeah.
know, we went fishing. We caught our own dinner. We were trout fishing. You build a fire, go, I learned how to camp. It's survival instincts too.
Yeah.
And both my parents grew up on farms in Minnesota and Iowa. And I grew up with animals and loving animals and horses. And my dad bought my sister and I horses, and we
Mhm.
rode every single weekend.
Oh,
We
wow.
had to take care of, we had to,
Mhm.
shovel out
Yeah.
the farm. It was like there was nothing that, he had two girls, and he didn't get a boy till for 10 years later. So he treated us basically like we were both boys
Yeah.
in terms of, you know, work hard, this, that. My dad was, he was Army and Air Force, so he had a
Oh,
very,
strict.
and on the farm, you have to milk
Mhm.
the cows at 4 in the morning and 4 in the afternoon,
Mm.
and you can't be 5 minutes late, and you
Yeah.
can't be 30 minutes late. You
Yeah.
have to be punctual.
Mhm.
And so there's a lot of discipline that he instilled in me and my siblings and in our family, and
Yeah.
I'm eternally grateful for.
Yeah. And that helped you to not go to the bar, and it helped you to be at 9 o'clock, auditions, and you
I
probably
was
got the job because of it.
fun and this and that. Hey, those that could have gotten it but
Mhm.
couldn't roll out of bed,
Yeah.
too bad for you.
Yeah. So, I was going to ask you and you basically just answered it, but my next question was going to be, what keeps you grounded in an industry that pulls people in? All these, like, listen, like, I'm not trying to bash Hollywood. I'm not, because I love movies too, just like everybody else. But,
Yes,
right now,
I'm
especially,
sorry.
it
I
seems
think
like we're finding out so much in the last 10 years that's went on in Hollywood that's shocking. I'm like, oh my gosh. So I guess because you did have that good background, that good, childhood that kept you.
I had I had two guys in my career, two people. One guy, oh honey, I can make you a star. Like, does that work for you? You can't make me a star. Nobody can make me a star except for me.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Wow, I love that.
Like ridiculous. I mean, the things with come-ons, the this, that. I had a very firm
Yeah.
grounding, and I would remind them, be careful, dynamite comes in small packages.
Yeah.
And that was even before I knew Chuck Norris.
Wow. I love that.
So,
I
but
love that.
I stayed grounded in Hollywood because I stayed rooted in first of all, my faith, number one, and nature, number two. I spent my whole life riding horses into the foothills of Colorado and hiking and skiing and biking and, running track and field and cheerleading and pom-poms. I was always an athlete and I've always stayed an athlete. And I moved to the beach the minute I got to Hollywood. I'd run soft sand. I just loved everything about nature. And so Hollywood is just, it's all smoke and mirrors.
Hmm.
It's not real.
Yeah.
And the old Hollywood system, where they actually really had a Hollywood system, that was a very different time and a very different era. And I look back at the old films in the 40s and the 50s and just, oh, the glamorous old movie stars and the black and whites, and I love them. And even what Ronald Reagan went through as the president of SAG and dealing dealing with the mafia and dealing with communists and dealing with,
Wow.
I'm like, are you kidding me? And so I think every generation has had its own issues with whatever was going on in the world and the world's problems, but Hollywood's gotten a little sick as far as I'm concerned. And I think that they've pushed the envelope so far beyond what is acceptable and normal in a lot of arenas.
Yeah.
And it's just frankly offensive and not interesting to watch.
Yeah.
So I don't. So I had it when it was good.
Yeah,
That's
I
all I
agree. They have, and some of the stuff that we see, and like I said, I don't want to get political, and I don't even want to because listen, you can vote for everyone, you can live however you want. Like I love everybody, I love everybody. You don't have to live like me, you don't have to believe like me to be my friend.
right.
But there are some things that I just put my foot down and go, no, that's a little too far. And when I see things that are targeted toward children,
Oh,
that's what you know gets my gets me
no.
up on my hind legs. I'm like,
Well, that is the boundary that cannot be crossed.
yeah,
So I
yeah,
feel very much the same as
yeah,
you.
yeah. So, because listen, adults, you can make your own choices. If you want to watch something that's completely vulgar and ungodly, go for it. You're an adult. But when people are making stuff for children, that's ungodly. That's why I'm like, no. So, but I want to kind of switch gears a little bit. So, you're not only an actress, but you're also a producer. You produce
Yes, I
movies.
produced.
Yeah.
I got invited to produce Easy Rider, The Ride Back with my
Hmm.
friend who acquired the rights. It was a
Yeah.
whole labor of love. It was independent filmmaking at its most
Mhm.
difficult. Go raise $400,000, go out and shoot. Go raise another 400,000, go out and shoot. Go
Yep.
raise money, go out and shoot. It was like years of it was such a valuable lesson
Mhm.
in resiliency and
Mhm.
being tenacious. And I wouldn't recommend it. It's not for the faint of heart.
Yeah. Oh,
But
trust me. Listen, I know being on this side of owning a network and we have 12 shows on, it's up to me to raise money. I own it. I have to raise the money. And so to ask for it, and I've tried to strike up a deal with the local convention center last week. And then I'm trying to get in touch with Bush's Beans because their headquarters is here to, partner with them. And I'm like, it is hard. It's hard to raise money to produce stuff. And, everybody's like, don't use your own money. But, I'm like, I have to right now. But that's the hardest part is producing. But do you like to act out other people's stories better, or do you like the producing side where you tell the stories?
I like both. I love wearing a bunch of hats.
Mhm.
I have been, as a producer, I raised the money.
Mhm.
I did all the casting. I read with all the actors. I could tell if somebody was engaged as an actor or if they were just completely faking it and disconnected. It was great to cast, in the Gundown and in, Easy Rider and all of the different films and stuff, the things that I have had a small hand in producing. And some days I was craft service. Some days, the AD got sick, didn't show up, and I was first AD. And
Mhm.
so you learn every aspect of filmmaking
Mhm.
where you don't have that privilege when you're just acting. And so that part is really intriguing because I always love to learn new things,
Mhm.
teach this old dog some new tricks. And right now I'm working with a couple of writers that have written some really quality. I've got a dramatic limited series, two of them that I love and I would love to produce and star in one of them. And there's this just whimsical comedy that could just be so much fun. And they're being written, and now we're out trying to get,
Mhm.
find the money, find the
Yep.
network. So no, it's much easier just to be an actor.
Mhm.
Sometimes it's more fulfilling to wear all the hats. That'd be
Yeah,
great.
but so what kind of stories are you interested in telling at this point in your life?
Um, well, it's very interesting. One of the stories that I've got that I would like to produce and probably not star in because there's not a age appropriate role for me. It's really about an uplifting story about human trafficking, if that can be. It's a very timely subject, but
Mhm.
it's about human trafficking, and it's written from the perspective of a teenage girl who gets put into the world of, they sold her, and
Yeah.
and it goes internationally, and it's a very, very interesting
Wow.
story, and there's a white hat. Let's just put it that the white hat hatter, the good people that help this
Wow.
judge try to and bring this whole organization down. And it's got a lot of redemption and a lot of it
Mhm.
just makes me feel good. And it's got a lot of potential, I think, to
Wow.
be very commercial and yet also very impactful.
Mhm. Wow.
And then I've got this whimsical little show that is just about a couple of I won't even say it. I can't give it away yet because
Okay.
but it's a comedy and it's more about healing old wounds and seeing the star of the show go through a metamorphosis and a transformation as she heals some of her childhood wound
Wow.
through the world of comedy. And
Wow.
it's not too heavy, but it does also have an impact.
Yeah, it still has that message.
Faith-based projects. I've got a project called I, John. Still want to get that made. It's like, what if maybe John the Apostle never died? The apostle that they couldn't kill, the
Yeah.
ones that with water. Da, 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 da. What if John the Apostle is still walking this earth today
Wow.
and he just gets re let's just say he just gets re incarnated, repurposed
Yeah.
into his 20s till he's like
Mhm.
in his late 90s, in all through the years of what would John do, still
Mhm.
spreading the word. And
Wow.
so I have lots of spiritual, I have lots of dramas, I've got a very hard, tough subject matter that we're still trying to get made called The Truth Sayers. Um, I have a wonderful, brilliant writer that's written that. She may direct now, so going to be looking for stars. So lots of balls in the air and lots
Yeah.
of things brewing still.
Good. So I want to ask you this before we go. If you could act with anybody now who's living before you retire, who would that be?
Oh, Anthony Hopkins,
Wow.
Ray Lewis. Um, wow. I just so respect just the immense talent
Yeah.
that is there. It's just that's the ones that just blow my
Yeah.
mind.
Wow. Those are good choices, especially Anthony Hopkins. Wow, he's something else. He gets into every role he does. So Sheree, thank you so much for being a guest today. Like I said, I have, been a fan of yours all my life, even before I realized who you were, like before in the 80s with the commercials, before I realized, hey, that was Walker, Texas Ranger Alex Cahill. So I just appreciate you taking time out to come on and yeah, just thank you.
Thank you so much. It's been so fun talking to you and love your show.
Oh, thank
Keep up the
you.
great work
Oh,
and
thank you.
go get that new studio.
Yeah. Thank you guys for watching today. I know you have enjoyed Sheree J. Wilson just as much as I have. And like we said earlier, you can find Walker, Texas Ranger on Hulu, Tubi, all the places, just on all your streaming platforms, probably. So tune in again next week for another great episode. And remember to always dream big because big dreams do come true.